My name is Aya Takano. I paint and I draw. I'm 31 years old. I was born in Saitama, which is near Tokyo. I grew up there. When I was very little, I realized I was interested in art. I don't know why. While reading about great masters of painting and looking at art books, I had an electric shock and I said to myself, I really want to be a painter. I like Gauguin, Klimt, Manet, the Surrealists, the Impressionists, Yayoi Kusama. I really like Yayoi Kusama. The first time I saw her work, it was like seeing the universe, dark with white spots. I fell in love with her art. Since then, I'm a very big fan of hers. When I look at her work, I don't think. It's not an interaction with the mind, but my whole body responding to her paintings. I have a physical relationship to Kusama's work. I didn't want to go to university. I wanted to work, but my parents wanted me to go to college. So, art school was the only way. I didn't want to go anywhere else. Only art counted.
After my graduation, I worked for Nintendo.
After my graduation, I worked for Nintendo, designing packages, but it was boring for me.
Boring to me. I didn't like going.
I didn't like going to the same place and meeting with the same people every day, doing what somebody would tell me to do.
Something like that.
I didn't like that. Takashi Murakami is a very important person in my life and my career. I was first Takashi's assistant. He wanted to see the work of young artists, and I showed him mine. He liked it and was the first person to encourage me to paint on canvas, which I was not doing yet. He suggested I do an exhibition and introduced me to galleries outside of Japan. And that was the beginning.
I saw everything in my...
When I begin a painting, I see everything in my mind. I'm watching a picture, like a photograph.
And I'm just sketching.
I'm just sketching what I'm watching in my mind. I started reading very early my father's books from his library. While reading these books, I realized that a lot of things were happening outside of my everyday life. there were descriptions of rocks with strange forms, cadavers of unknown creatures, and all these themes are now represented in my paintings. That period of reading was very important to me. I was very influenced by these sci-fi novels, but also by scientific magazines. I was very touched by the beauty of stars, by photos that I saw in these magazines, and also by the comic books of Osamu Tezuka, who is a very well-known author in Japan.
SF は、自分のこの見えてる世界
Science fiction made me realize that there is an existence beyond reality, something that transcends my existence.
自分の存在を超えるようななんか
It made me discover a very strong feeling, like excitement.
ものすごい快楽とか興奮を味わわせて、もう私は長らく小学校の頃とかはすごいエッチな
When I was little, I would read very sensual science fiction books. These books would tell the story of a character who would fly towards space, thanks to an erotic force. And when I read these books of science fiction, I have a kind of orgasm because I'm feeling so good. I feel transported by these stories. Before having a sexual relationship, I thought that what I was experiencing was an orgasm. But I realized after that it was something different. The orgasm that I felt with science fiction was almost much stronger than what I felt physically. In the future, I wish that everyone could feel this orgasm that goes beyond the body. And I really think it can happen to everyone. All these sensations that I get from science fiction, I put them in my paintings. I want to fly. I want to go to the universe. I don't want to be imprisoned by morality. I want to live in my paintings. Sometimes I feel such a physical pleasure when I'm looking at clouds with an extraordinary shape, or when I've read a great science fiction book. I feel something very, very strong. All this physical pleasure is much stronger than real sexual relationships. And it's this pleasure, this ecstasy, that I would like to share with others through my paintings. I cannot talk about universal pleasure. I can only talk about the pleasure I know as a woman. I cannot talk about the pleasure that a man feels. I don't want to lie and pretend to know what men feel. But perhaps a man who has a feminine sensibility can understand a woman's pleasure. I had two very different public reactions in the US and in Paris. In America, certain children were shocked by drawings where one could see a penis. Their parents didn't want them to look at the drawings. In Paris, there is one painting where one could clearly see the vagina of a woman, and a little boy and his father were looking at the painting and saying, "It's beautiful. It's beautiful."
指入れちゃってるような絵の前でなんかいいねみたいに2人で見てて超びっくりしたんです。
I've never been that preoccupied by my public. Even if it's a cat or a non-human, I hope it will appreciate my work. I wouldn't like people to be indifferent. I would be unhappy if people felt nothing. Here, the characters dream of going to another world. They are transforming themselves to go towards this other universe. They are transforming themselves into animals or insects. I really like to integrate different types of animals, like animals with weird shapes. When I observe these strange creatures in books, I'm very surprised because reality goes beyond my imagination.
自分の予想を超えてることが世界で起きているっていうのがすごいわかるからなんかそういう自意識を超えたところに行ける。
This is a rat that doesn't have any body hair, and that's a jellyfish that's called bad fish. It really exists. I was inspired by a French illustrator called Georges Barbier, who would color in red the extremities of his characters' body parts. I could also say that the redness accentuates the effect of a body not altogether finished, and still growing or in development. At first, this painting was a commission to illustrate the cover of a book for teenagers. It's quite a shocking book, but it's still really good. The story is about young girls, high schoolers, who steal, become prostitutes, and kill other people. They are not ordinary girls. However, at the end, they decide to get out of their situation.
代の東京の現実の
I like to mix very concrete images, like supermarkets and cell phones, with strange things. The mixture is funny to me.
よりなんか本当に変な世界に行ってるような感じの。これは空から
Here I was inspired by the Sixtine Chapel. I wanted the UFOs, or Jupiter, to look at us from the top like God, and to invite us to come into space.
遠くから私たちを見下ろしてて、こっちにおいでって言ってる絵です。もう最初からその
I'm not sad to say goodbye to a painting, because I know from the start that it will belong to someone else.
大丈夫になります。
Several people have talked to me about this bedroom, and I never thought that I would see it one day. I'm so happy. I'm so moved that I almost could cry. This is the first painting that I saw when I walked in, and in the daylight, it's the one that strikes one's eye the most. I'm so happy today that I associate myself with the feelings of the characters in the painting. I remember also that I was very happy working on this painting. I didn't expect to see this painting in a boys' room. I didn't expect it at all. I think this painting fits very well. I'm very happy. This is one of my dreams, to travel like that. I hope the boy who sleeps here dreams about it too. I had the best time in Paris of my life. It was great, really fun. I had a great time.